Hi y'all. Today we're looking at this BTC 5339 keyboard. This board I actually got from Canada, which is why it has some of these different extra legends on the keys. But other than that, it's a normal 101 key layout keyboard. Well, mostly anyway. I've heard some decent things about BTC foam and foil, so I wanted to give it a try for myself. Although I did want to find a specific configuration of this keyboard, and I did. This one has BTC tactile foam and foil switches, which you can see the MX mount slider and the buckling rubber sleeve here. These are all out in like strips all over the board, and then like one huge thing here. But a couple of things I did to change the key feel to improve it. The rubber sleeve mat for the 60% block felt not very tactile, but the rest of the keys felt more tactile. So what I did was like cut those up into strips to fit on here, and then these feel a bit nicer and snappy, and I put, the rest of them here. I didn't use too much because although, those ones felt mushier, the domes that I moved around, they don't feel as mushy because the greater tactility seems to go past the mush and you don't feel it as much. The other thing that I was able to score on this thing was the keycaps. Although the printing on these keycaps is exactly the same between the pad prints and the double shots. The only way to know what you're getting is to get a picture under the keycaps, and this listing did. So I don't see too many of these foam and foil boards with nice double shots, but I was able to score that. And that's why I picked up this board, because tactile foam and foil and nice BTC double shots. Another thing I did, you probably was able to hear in the sound, I got some O-rings and installed them in here. It's a really cool sound. Because like when I first got it, like these things have a crazy loud upstroke, and it was so loud that it was like messing up my typing. So I put these in, and although it did shorten the travel a little bit, I think it's a lot nicer this way. You can think of it as like a budget toper in a way, because it's very similar in a lot of ways. I mean, nice keycaps, well, for this one, I guess. But capacitive switches, capacitive white rubber domes. But of course, these are a lot cheaper than Topra. But Topra uses like a capacitive conical spring over rubber dome. These use like foam and foil, attached to sliders. So it's a little different, but yeah. One thing I absolutely love about this board is that the keys are insanely smooth. Arguably just as smooth as Topra, I would think. But yes, these are ridiculously smooth. I was surprised after putting this all back together. It was actually really dirty when I got it, but it cleaned up nicely, and you can probably tell the case was super yellowed. Although I did lazy bright it, I just put it outside, and that did help. So it definitely looks a little bit better now. The green alt keys are pad printed, and same for this print screen key, which is also printed green too. The spacebar though is pretty nuts, especially when you're typing away. It just drowns out all the other keys. And also for BTC, it does have the 1.25 unit escape key. It's still double shot at least, but a lot of BTCs had this, especially their domeless slider and foam and foil boards. However, some of the Focus, like second generation Focus boards, also had a 1.25 unit escape key. Aside from some of the extra legends on some of the keys, this uses a bit of a modified Monterey layout, because it still uses the wide right shift, big ass enter, and full size backspace. Although instead of putting the backslash key right here, they put it here, which that isn't too much of a problem on this side. But on this side, there's this like useless macro key, and then they put control here, which if you're playing games, it's annoying for sure. It could be worse though. It could be much worse. Alright, taking a look at the back. These are really nice flip-up feet, I gotta say. They're like metal with a little rubber grip on them that flip like this. And they're pretty solid, although I don't think they're made to do this, but you can set them like this as like a lower point. I mean, it works, but I don't think it's like, made to do it that way, but it works. But yeah, they're nice feet. And it's got a nice metal back plate and some nice big rubber grips here. 6 screws to take it apart, so it's pretty easy to take apart. It's not like a super thick tanky metal, but it's nice, and it feels pretty sturdy. And then here's the model sticker for this thing. BTC 5339R. There isn't really a difference in the model number that says if one of these has linear or tactile foam and foil switches. The linear ones have a spring. This is a tactile one with the rubber sleeves. You really have to get a picture under the keycap if you're looking for the right configuration one of these, which thankfully this one both had pictures, of the switches and the bottom side of the keycap, so I could see exactly what I was getting here. But, I just really love the sound of this now, after the O-rings put in. It's like a really nice, quiet, deep thok, especially this top row here. I'd be willing to say it's a good budget Topra. But of course, being foam and foil, which means it's very reliable and capacitive, and also N-key rollover, and besides this thing, it is pretty good for gaming. And the little bit I have used it, it's been super solid though. These things, even though if they're foam and foil, which kind of get a bad rap, these are still really nice and durable. Although thankfully, when I did take it apart, none of the foam was rotten out on these, so that's definitely a plus. The cable is, the coils are short, but it's better than none, I guess. 5-pin DIN plug, it's AT. One thing I will note, this thing doesn't seem to work with my source converter, but it works fine if you use a 5-pin to PS2 adapter and then a PS2 converter like this one. Like an active one, of course. I think these are really good keyboards, especially if you're willing to take it apart and mod it like I've done here. That definitely improves the feel and sound, especially this tactile model. Of course, you could do the same with a linear model, but then you have to source a buckling rubber sleeve of some sort, but still, these are really nice keyboards. There are also some versions with, like, a 9-unit spacebar, and then Control and Alt keys without these extra keys here. But those, I think, use all pad printed caps and use like the later font that they had on a lot of their dome and slider boards. If you want a chance of getting one of these with double shot caps, look for one like this. It's very nice, and I actually really like it. I think that'll conclude it for this one, y'all. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and that'll be it for this one.